Hello, friends, and welcome back to Wanderlust Gaming. So, today I wanted to talk about why I chose not to buy a Switch 2. And I think it was a good decision for the time being, just because I believe, if you buy a system, you're buying it for the games, right? And basically, as many of you guys know, I have a Steam Deck. So, I can play most of the games that are available right now on the Steam Deck without any issues. For example, right now I'm playing Expedition 33, which is like, a great game that I've been talking about for such a long time. And, for example, if I wanted to play that game on the Switch 2, it's not available. As far as I know, it's not available yet, right? But they do plan to release it at some point. But yeah, going back to why I chose not to buy a Switch 2, even though I did get an invitation from Nintendo to buy it. I just felt like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza is not enough, at least for me. I'm pretty sure Mario Kart is like a fun game. It looks okay, but even though I have heard like from many YouTubers, usually when I work, I listen to a lot of YouTubers from different things, and some of them are about gaming, and they talk about how like for example, there's no Mario Kart World is very empty now. At least the online aspect of the game is very empty. Like it went from like having like full rooms to like now it's like really like half of the rooms are like full now. So it shows that people. This is another theory that I have, right? I feel like a lot of the Nintendo fans, when we were like younger, I'm 30, like I'm in my mid 30s now. But back then, when I was a teenager, like it was like if you were like a Nintendo fan, you were like considered like a child or having like a childlike mindset, even though you were like a teenager going into an adulthood. And yeah, it was pretty fun trolling back then, I guess you could say, right? But I feel like the people that bought the Nintendo Switch 2 right now are the hardcore fans, which are older people like myself, like mid 30s, maybe like, late 20s to like 40s, 50s, right? So these guys are like the ones that bought the Nintendo Switch 2, and because they probably have like a lot of money to spend on their hobbies and stuff like that, like the gaming on the Switch 2. So they probably like pick it up, and they played it, and like because there's like adults now, they're busy with their lives, they just like threw it away. So that's a theory that I have. Why I think that it's the Nintendo, the Mario Kart rooms and lobbies and whatever are kind of like they went down. They're empty. So yeah, I feel like Nintendo knows this. If you notice, a lot of the marketing for the Switch 2 was like, you know, aimed specifically for this audience, right? Like like maybe late 20s until like 50s and perhaps 60s, right? Because if you notice the marketing that Nintendo did back then, in I guess like in the early 2000s was for like kids, because they were like, oh, we're gonna capture the kids, and when they grow up, they're gonna grow up with Nintendo, and like it kind of worked in a way. But because kids are like it's like like that meme is like kids are playing Call of Duty, adults are playing like Mario Kitty games, so it's kind of like that. That's my theory. But yeah, besides I chose not to buy the Switch 2 because the games don't interest me. Sorry, I went off topic. I had like so many things in my mind, so that's why I was like talking about like all this stuff. But yeah, I'm not gonna buy like a Switch to spend like 600, nearly $600 when you add tax, right? For Mario Kart World and like Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like I want like Zelda, give me like like the good stuff. If I'm gonna buy a Nintendo Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles. So it's like for now, I think the Steam Deck. I like bowed to the Steam Deck because it's like for me it's like the best gaming system ever. So yeah, short, long story short, the there are no games for the Switch 2. Basically, that's what I think. And yeah, right now it's like not interested in the Switch 2, you know. I didn't like fall into the hype. So that's my video for today, guys. Bye bye.